Tonight's species is long silver with a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. These fish will smoke off 100 feet of line at a time. They are also famous for skyrocketing baits, and what I love about them is that they can be caught all over the state. Tonight we're talking kingfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to another great week right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Of course, you know Rip Murphy, and I am Jamie Estrada. Now, I'm filling in for Brie, who's a little busy right now. She's getting ready to welcome in the newest member of our show, baby Leo. So I'll be here for a couple weeks helping out, right, Rick?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in. You know, you're no stranger to the show, but guys, let's be understanding here. She hasn't had the baby yet. We're all patiently waiting for Leo to make his arrival, but we do have a show to do tonight.
We absolutely do. And this week we are talking all about kingfish. And what do you think about kingfish, right? Really?
I love kingfish, Jamie. And the reason why I love them so much is, as I said earlier, you know, they can be caught all over. The Gulf of Mexico, Sarasota's a big mecca, as well as Jacksonville has one of the biggest kingfish tournaments in the state. So I'm really excited to hear what kind of cool tips our guys got for us tonight.
That's right. And the person that has a lot of good information as well is Mr. Dave Farrell, right over there at the CCA workbench. Let's say hey to Dave. What's going on?
Not much. We're sitting here with Steve Grant from Diamond Fishing Products. He fishes a lot of those kingfish tournaments that Rick was talking about, and he's going to share some of his really cool rigging techniques for live baits.
Nice.
Which catches those great big kingfish.
That's right. Well, let's find out about some more kingfish, and let's kick it off right there in the FISHBITES East region with Captain Mike Holliday, who's standing by. Hey, Mike, tell us all about the kingfish in your area.
You know, it's a great that tonight's theme species is kingfish, because the most consistent bite in the region has been for kingfish, which are spread throughout the entire region from the beaches on out to 120 feet. With this week's full moon, expect the bite to be in the evenings and in the mornings. Whenever the moon is on that horizon, that's when it's going to be really good. In Palm Beach County, the best action is on the reefs in 110 to 150 feet of water, while in the counties to the north, the fish are scattered in anywhere from, like 30 feet all the way out to 120 feet, including places like the 8 Mile Reef, the Offshore Bar, the Vero Cove, and up to there towards Bethel Shoals. Now, there's been a big push of offshore bait into that 50 to 70 foot depth, and the kings are all over those bait schools right now. They're also on the bait near the beach on the days that we have a west wind, and you can catch a bait from the school, put a double hook stinger rig in it, throw it right back in that school and get the bite. Right now, live thread fins, Spanish sardines, blue runners, mullet, and pilchards are your top baits. And the average king's going to be like, in that 12 to 18 pound range. But there are some smokers in the mix. The other bite we got going, 4 days on either side of the full moon or when the mutton snappers seem to school up on the reefs. And the bite's been strong all week. We got the full moon on the weekend. Tropical storm Fred stirred up the water, and that makes it milky. The fish will be more aggressive. So off Palm Beach, the fish are in anywhere from 80 to 120 feet of water, while off Martin and St. Lucie counties, the bite's in a little shallower, like that 50 to 75 foot depth on out to maybe even 85 feet. By far the best action's been at night in places like the Sand Pile, the Loran Tower Ledge, and the Roll Down off Jupiter. You want to target the fish with anything from a grunt plug or a ballyhoo plug to a live or dead Spanish sardine, a cigar minnow, a pilchard, a threadfin, even a chunk of bonito will work in a pinch. The key right now is to fish that triple hook, or not triple, but triple swivel rig with a 40-foot leader, 7/0 trocar circle hook, and just enough lead to hold bottom. The average mutton in the region is going to be like 4 to 8 pounds, but there's going to be some bigger fish in that mix up to about 18 pounds. I got a photo of one of those good fish. That's Wes Carlton with a nice mutton snapper. He caught that fish off Jupiter, and he was using a grunt plug for bait.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Well, the full moon in August is when those big mangrove snapper come into the inlets to spawn, and they also come in to feed on the hatching turtles and the bait schools that are stacked on the beach. These moon tides are super strong. The fish are going to hold tight to the rocks when those tides get moving, but the second that tide slacks up, They come out of the rocks to feed. And these aren't your standard 10 to 12 inch mangroves you see around the rocks normally. They're bigger fish. You want to gear up with 20 to 30 pound tackle and a 30 pound fluorocarbon leader. The best snapper bait in the inlets is a 4 to 6 inch Spanish sardine, fished either live or dead, doesn't matter, but you can use anything from a live pilcher to a finger mullet, a threadfin, a sand perch, live shrimp will work. Just pitch that bait tight to the rocks on the slack tide and hang on. The average snapper is going to be 3 to 5 pounds, with fish up to about 8 pounds in the mix. And here's a good example of one of those. Justin Eve, he caught that nice mangrove snapper on a live shrimp and a jig head. He was fishing with Captain Jonathan Earhart of Chaos Fishing Adventures around the St. Lucie Inlet. The other inshore bite we got going, this is the last moon of the summer that you'll see those big spawning aggregations of snook pushing into the inlets and along the beaches throughout the region. In Lake Worth Inlet, the fish will hold tight to that south side on the inside, while on Jupiter Inlet, the better bites on the north side. And don't forget the Lake Worth and Juneau Piers. They've got good snook bites going on, as does the section of beach just south of Fort Pierce Inlet and Bob Graham Beach, which is just south of Jensen Public Beach. And, we haven't seen the minnow schools we normally see in August, but there's plenty of juvenile pilchers along the shore. You can cast net them, put them right back out, or you can also throw a bass assassin sea shad or a saltwater shad in any of the pilchard colors that work right now. That's what they're feeding on, is pilchards in tight. The average snook is 5 to 15 pounds. I got a photo. That's John Hobson. He caught that nice slot snook on the beach. He caught that south of the St. Lucie Inlet fishing with Captain Jimmy Walden.
Well, thanks for sending that in. Go ahead and tell us about the bass this week, Mike.
Well, water levels are almost at 14 and a half feet on Lake Okeechobee. That's a lot of water. It's got the bass spread out, and it's making it tougher for the anglers to pattern the fish. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He said the most consistent bite has been the shad bite at dawn on the west side by the water tower, up in the north on Harney Pond or Second Point, or moving towards the east in front of J&S Fish Camp. The key is to look for clean water. That's where the fish are going to be. Then from there, you look for diving birds or fish busting on top near the Kissimmee grass beds. The bite's pretty short. It's from first light until about 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock if you got a little overcast. But you can throw anything from a bass assassin smoking shad or crystal shad to an all-white spinnerbait or topwater plug. Then once that shad bite dies off, it's time to flip or pitch the isolated cattails on the outside grass lines. Throw a creature bait like a skunk ape in the hematoma shad or the hillbilly special colors. Basically black and blue is what they're eating right now. The largest fish are coming on live shiners, which are finally starting to catch again on the lake. They've been kind of devoid for a while. It's a 25 fish morning, average bass 1 to 3 pound range, fish to 6 pounds. Most of the bass are small right now though on the lake.
All right, Hollywood, good to see you this week. We appreciate you starting us off. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the T&H Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike suggests that this weekend you go inshore tarpon in the Crossroads area off of Stewart. Live or dead mullet on a 7.0 Trocar circle hook's going to work for the poon. And then offshore, wahoo and 200 to 400 feet of water off of Palm Beach. High-speed trolling with lures at dawn are going to catch those whoos.
Nice. That's my backyard, Rick.
That's it.
I love it. Now we're going to move on over to the Real Legends Central East region, and Captain Jim Ross is going to tell us how to hook up on those kings and rule the seas. Hey, Jim.
Hey there, and welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
King mackerel are absolutely they're unquestionably one of the highly targeted species, pelagic species that we catch in this region, both by recreational and commercial anglers. They are a staple for our offshore charter fleet on most days. Now, these fish are abundant on most days throughout the entire year, and they're willing to strike live baits and lures on just about every one of our 70 to 90 foot reefs in the Real Legends Central East region. Now, anglers are wanting to target the bigger king mackerel. You want to slow troll live baits on a wire stinger rig, like Mike was talking about in the segment before me. And lighter gear seems to work better than heavier gear for this, especially lighter tipped rods. So they specifically make kingfish taper rods. And I highly recommend that if you're going to target these kingfish, especially with a wire stinger rig, that you get the gear specifically designed to target them, including the rods, reels, as well as the baits. Frozen baits can be used as well. You can use sea witch and bait strip combos. You can use spoons. You can use lip diving plugs. They'll all catch king mackerel on most days. And our average king runs about 10 to 15 pounds, but a lot of the fish are running over 30 pounds. And they're pretty common in the summer months. That's why we get those big smokers that we catch along the beach a lot of times. And I've got a picture here of one that Danny Blackwell caught with me the other day. This is a typical king mackerel that you're going to find, and you can see we're just a little ways off the beach. You can see it in the background there, and you find bait pods, you're going to find kings like this around those bait pods. Now, my second species is grouper, and the action has been pretty good lately on the deeper reefs and wrecks in my region. Live grunts, croakers, pinfish, they're all really good baits to use right now. Blue runners will work good as well. 180 to 260 feet of water is where you're going to target most of these grouper. Anglers can also use vertical speed jigs, or you can use any of those slow pitch jigs if there's not a lot of current. But most of the time, this time of the year, we have a little too much current for those slow pitch jigs. The Ocalina bank, anywhere from 240 to 260 feet of water from Port Canaveral to Ponce, has been especially good here recently. And besides the larger gag grouper, you can also get shots at landing scamp grouper as well, and some snowies as well. Most of the grouper in our region weigh pretty much 15 pounds or more, and some of these fish are running 25 to 35 pounds. And Dave Farrell sent me this picture. He was out with Rick Penner the other day of a nice gag that they got while they were fishing out of Ponce Inlet out on that 240 to 260 foot ledge.
Nice.
Now, swinging inshore, tarpon, Rick. We still have tarpon on the beaches, and you know we like our tarpon around here. If you get out there and the seas are calm, you're going to see these fish rolling. You can also find them in the lagoons as well. They've started to move into there. Look for bait pods, and you want to concentrate around those bait pods if you're in the lagoon. Along the beaches, right now you can find them just cruising the surf in schools. They're not necessarily on baits, but when you find them on baits, you're most likely going to find them on glass minnows. So if you're fishing where the hornbellies are or where the pogies are, you may see some, but if you want to find the fish that are really eating, concentrate on those glass minnows. And right now, that area around Patrick Air Force Base has been really good. Live pilchards, mullet, and croakers are all going to work for you if you're pulling those on a 80-pound leader with a circle hook. And a lot of those fish in the lagoons are running 25 to 50 pounds, but some of them will get up to 125 pounds, and our beach fish are averaging about 70 to 100 pounds as well. Now, my last species is redfish, and the redfish is actually, they've been a little slow this year, but they're on an uptick this week, and the redfish are showing up along the shorelines and creek mouths throughout Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach, and in the South Mosquito Lagoon. Small jigs and flies that imitate little minnows are working best for them. And one of my favorite ones is the Saltwater Assassin Houdini colored 4-inch sea shad. You rig that on a 1/8 ounce Assassin springlock jig head. Fantastic bait to use on our redfish pretty much year round, but it's working especially well right now. If you're fishing in water that's too dirty to sight fish, then use some chunk bait, ladyfish, mullet, something like that seems to work pretty good. And I wanted to mention, don't forget to register for the Star Tournament if you haven't registered. We have 8 redfish that are tagged in our region of the state, and the Star Tournament is the only way you're going to have a shot at catching a spider boat or a Pathfinder boat. And one was recently caught here just the other day, and the guy wasn't registered. So guys and gals, you still have time. Get out there, get registered. There's plenty of redfish around here to be caught.
All right, Bud, thank you so much. Thanks for the CCA tip, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots from the Central East region. He says inshore, redfish in the south end of the Mosquito Lagoon use jigs, flies, chunk baits, or for the slot size reds along the bank. And then offshore, groupers on the Ocalina bank from Canaveral to Ponce use grunts, croakers, blue runners for groupers up to 30 pounds.
Sounds good, Rick.
All right.
Coming up next, we're moving over to the Alta Equipment Company Keys region to cover all things king. But first, we are talking with Dave over at the Academy Sports and Outdoor Rigs and Techniques at the CCA workbench on exactly how we're going to snag a king properly.
I think you said it all.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
I don't know. I think we're done.
It's up to you now.
Awesome. Well, stick around, guys. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Stiffy, innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Yeah, we're here at the CCA workbench for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques, and we're talking about kingfish. And you know, everybody can catch a kingfish. What's really cool about them is everybody around the state has a shot at them. They come in real close to shore this time of year in the summertime, get up in that clear water, and we target them just by slow trolling little ballyhoos at 6 knots, and we usually can catch a few. You know,
they hit anything.
Yeah, they eat a lot of stuff. They're very eager to eat usually. You know, if you find the mass school, but you know, you can catch a lot of little ones with this stuff I got here. But you specialize in catching great big kingfish in tournaments and whatnot.
At least attempting to,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
I got you. Well, you're gonna start off with tell us a little bit about the gear that you use.
Well, let's start off with you know, we like to use a light to medium action rod, and the main reason for that is, first of all,
Really limber tip there.
yeah, you can see the live bait actually kind of bouncing the tip, so you know that your bait's still alive. And this also helps prevent pulling these small hooks out of the kingfish's face during the fight.
Right, because they make that extremely fast run, and if you've got a really stout rod, he comes to the end, you can pull him out.
And that's why we do it, for the run, right?
Exactly.
And speaking of run, definitely recommend a reel that holds at least 400 yards of line, okay? Because you know, you got to be able to get the other lines in the boat before you go chase them.
Right.
And we like to use a high-speed gear ratio, because we'll actually take the boat and chase the fish down. So something higher than 5, so like a 6-to-1 gear ratio reel is great.
You want to pick up a lot of line.
You can pick up a lot of line. And something else we like to do is I like to fish with 20-pound mono, and I like a high-vis color, and then I'll use about 25 yards of fluorocarbon on top. And that way, you know, when the fish is 75 feet from the boat, we all know it's game time. So it's kind of nice, and that way, if there's another boat that's close to you, they can see the high-vis line, and they kind of stay away from your fish, you know, because it does happen. Sometimes we get in a big pack of boats.
Yeah.
And when you get into a big pack of boats, that's when wire diameter does make a big difference. Okay, we like to use different size wire depending on the bait that we're using and depending on if you're catching more fish than me right next to me. So,
right. I'm getting the bites on the number 4 over here.
Yeah, I'm go down to 3 so I can get a bigger one.
Right.
We try to use the heaviest wire that we can get away with, because kingfish are notorious for biting through the wire. They bite through cable, they bite through mono.
Especially the bigger ones.
Especially the bigger ones. So I'll usually, like on a big hardtail, I'll start with 7 wire between the hooks, and like a pogie or a greenie, we'll use number 5. And down here in like Fort Pierce, pilchards are phenomenal baits for kingfish. We'll use number 3 wire.
Well, and also, not only it allows them to swim better, not only because the kingfish can't see them as well, that small line, that small wire, but it allows the bait to swim more freely.
It gives them more action.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So something else that we try to do is, and this is, zoom in on this one, when we make our rigs, we try to tie our hooks.
Yeah, this is a really cool tip.
We try to tie our hooks by wire to wire, okay? So if y'all see this allows the hooks to still kind of dance around. And you know, when we're tournament fishing especially, I want if I got 3 hooks, I want all 3 hooks in that kingfish. I don't care where they are. It could be in his head, his tail, his belly. And having these hooks, being able to dance freely, really snags them up on some additional hookups. So that helps out a lot.
And you like to use a ribbon fish too. I see you got a ribbon fish rig out there. What makes it a little different?
You know, ribbon fish, first of all, it's a dead bait, okay?
Right. So you don't cutlass fish, ribbon fish.
Yes, you don't have to catch them. You can buy them and have them the day before. I will tell you that's probably our best bait. Most of the tournaments that we won have been on a ribbon fish, okay?
A dead one, right?
A dead one, okay? And a quick tip about that is I like to use jig heads, okay? So you put the ribbon fish on, and I'll actually slide the hooks down one of the sides of the ribbon fish, okay? And the reason being is we want them to troll straight up and down, and sometimes they'll get a little bit of a spin.
Right.
Spinning ribbon fish is only going to catch a shark.
Yeah, right.
So if that happens, take the hooks out of that side and run it down the other side of the ribbon fish, straighten them right out. Perfect.
Well, that's awesome, man. And what kind of line class are you using here? I noticed you don't want to use real heavy stuff.
You don't want to do too heavy. Anything really 16 to 30. My personal favorite is 20 or 25, okay? And I like to use a 25-pound fluorocarbon top shot.
And that allows you a nice little stretch when it comes tight.
Exactly.
That was awesome, man. Ooh, that went quack, didn't it?
Hey, appreciate it.
Quick.
Quack, quick.
Yeah, bam.
I love it.
You know, Dave, you're lucky to have Steve Grant over there tonight.
I know.
And Diamond is really lucky to have them working for him. I'm very envious that I wasn't allowed to be over there at the workbench, Jamie.
I'm super excited because I'm getting ready to catch up some king this weekend in a nice tournament. So I got some good tips,
There
right?
you go.
There you go.
Why not?
Wire to wire.
That's right.
Let's go.
Let's go right into the Alta Equipment Company Keys region with, of course, Captain Randy Tao. So what's happening, Sir Randy?
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Hi, Jamie.
Howdy.
Here in the Alta Equipment region, you know, we catch kingfish throughout the Keys, and it's usually in the fall and through the winter, and a lot of our fish are caught with live bait, slow trolling, or in the kite, a cigar minnow, pilchard, blue runners, speedos. Speedos are ideal because it's a big bait, and usually if you get a bite from a kingfish with a speedo, he's going to be in that 20-pound plus range. So we like the bigger baits for that. And really, when we talk about kingfish, Key West area is probably the place to go catch big kingfish because they've got the Atlantic and the Gulf right next to each other and the Tortugas, and they can really target where these big kingfish might be. And there's guys down there that specialize in light tackle fishing, like Captain Chris Trossett with Real Fly Charters out of Key West. You know, he'll go to a spot out in the Gulf of Mexico, and he can target with live pilchards and chum big kingfish to catch on a fly rod, or he can use light line on spinning rods, and you can really target them down there where they're not necessarily a bycatch in the upper Keys, but it's hard to do it all day long, and that's what makes Key West so great. I've got a photo of one of our very own fishing with Chris out of Key West with a kingfish, and I got to say, they were probably pretty thick that day.
Oh, that's so wrong, dog. All right, go ahead and tell me what else you have offshore.
You know, dolphin fishing is still pretty good, but I'll tell you what, there's some little secrets, because I've been doing it quite a bit lately myself. About 600 to 800 feet, you're going to find some birds, and the working birds. And I talk about that all the time, because if you understand what they're doing and where they're going, if they're going to the left or to the right, you want to get ahead of the birds, because most times guys will see birds, they'll run in the middle of them, and you never catch a dolphin, you never see them because they're moving. Everything is moving like a conveyor belt. So you want to first get a good eye on what your dolphin or your birds are doing and get in front of them, whether it's down current or up current. And a lot of times what I've been doing lately is I get ahead of them, I'll throw out some bait and I'll let it sit, and the dolphin are finding me. So I'm not necessarily trolling under the birds catching them, I'm getting in front of them and waiting for them to come to me. So if you've got live bait, that's a good trick to throw out some live bait and you'll get them fired up. I've got a photo of Captain Jack Carlson with two conchs out of Marathon, does a lot of dolphin fishing. Sent me this picture the other day of a nice bull they caught off a Marathon.
That is a nice one. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
All right. The permit fishing right now, you know, it's that time of year where a lot of these permit will get up on the flats. Now, the key to the permit fishing is tide. Your tide is critical. Incoming tide on the higher side and a strong tide is really important because permit like moving water. Now, a lot of guys are, you know, staying close to home, and there are fish further in the backcountry, but right now, close to home throughout the Keys, Marathon, even Key West, guys are finding them on the flats. It's a great time of year to do it. It's sight fishing. A live crab is going to get the job done. And the one thing you want to keep in mind, when you're sight fishing, if you throw behind your fish, he is not going to bite it. Guarantee you he's not going to find it. But you want to get that crab up in front of him and let it drift down to where he is, and it's just like Pac-Man. You're going to get a bite almost every time, especially with a crab. Now, fly fishing's a little different. You're throwing an artificial piece of carpet. Really, that's what these crab flies look like. But if you're savvy enough with your fly rod and your guide puts you in the right place, you can get it done, and guys are doing it. And Captain Richard Black with Black Fly Charters here in Alamorada is no stranger to catching plenty of permit, and he sent me this photo of his angler Carlos with this big permit he caught on a fly rod.
Nice.
Snook fishing is still pretty good in the backcountry. Guys on the top of the flats, I've been talking about that a lot. They've been finding good-sized snook and catching them. And we're catching a few along the beaches and shorelines, and not a lot of big fish. Guys are catching bigger ones shallower right now, and usually it's the other way around, but I'm sure that's going to change. and it's been pretty consistent back there. I like a 1/4 ounce jig head with a live pinfish is my favorite, and I've got a photo of Darlene catching her snook doing just that in the backcountry with a kind of a goofy color rod, but it seemed to work.
Oh, that was Red Rod's Catch Everything. What you talking about, dog? All right, man, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Alta Equipment Company, Florida Keys region. Inshore permit, check your tide chart on your Garmin GPS to make sure that you have good, strong tides in your favorite spot before you leave the dock. And then offshore, dolphin, look for the birds in 600 to 800 feet of water. The birds are the key, telling you where the fish are. Be patient and try to get in front of the birds and let the dolphin come to you. What do you think, Jamie?
Birds are key, right?
That's it.
Birds are always key. All right, guys, so 8 West Marine tag redfish have been caught unregistered by unregistered anglers during the CCA Florida Star competition. Now, don't risk that being you. There are still 3 more weeks with a Pathfinder and Spider boat powered by Yamaha's up for grabs, and we are talking Kingfish tonight. And Star has the Canon Kingfish division where you can win Canon downriggers, an inflatable from West Marine, and Tigris outriggers, plus a lot of other great prizes. To get more info, go to ccaflstar.com. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and that's okay because we're going to come right on back for the StarTron Central West region and Real Legends Southwest regions when we return right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Nice.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, your fish, our science, Bahio, fresh eyes for a rich life, Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure, R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours, Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And Garmin, plot your paradise.
Have you downloaded the My Yamaha Outboards app yet? Well, My Yamaha Outboards makes owning your Yamaha engine even easier. Setting up My Yamaha Outboards is simple. You can download the mobile app from the App Store or Google Play by searching My Yamaha Outboards. You can also get the web portal by visiting myyamahaoutboards.com. Once you get set up on your profile, you can maintain and review each boat and outboard you own. You can also download owner's manuals and have access to Yamaha's other helpful resource links at the bottom of the page within each section. Remember, My Yamaha Outboards is designed to enhance your satisfaction throughout your ownership. It keeps track of service and provides a history that may add to the confidence and the value of your boat. Here's my personal experience with the app. First, I made an account and I checked off that I am a Yamaha outboard owner. Then I added the boat and the primary ID of the engine on that particular boat. Where's the primary ID, you ask? Well, it's right here. Remember, if you bought your outboard from a Yamaha dealer, Yamaha will email you once they've been confirmed that your outboard has been registered with a dealer. If you're not the first owner, just enter the primary ID to get started. Logging your trips is another cool feature of the app so that you can remember and share them. You can indicate where your trip begins and where it ends. You can also log in what the primary activity of the trip was, such as fishing or cruising. My Yamaha Outboards also has a space for you to add any notes of your trip, such as who was on your boat, what fish you got, what tackle you used, and the conditions. You can also use it to plan your trip so that you can share your plan with your friends and family. For more information or any questions about My Yamaha Outboards, call our customer service number on the screen. You need this app. So joining me now is Jason Austin from Heroes on the Water. And so Jason, why don't we tell our audience what Heroes on the Water is?
Well, first of all, Rick, thanks for having me. Heroes on the Water is a nonprofit organization that takes veterans, first responders, and their family members kayak fishing.
All right, so where do we do this?
Right now we have 56 volunteer-led chapters across 26 states.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about what Heroes in the Water does.
It's pretty simple. It's kayak fishing. We're going into our 14th season right now. We've served over 50,000 veterans and first responders and over 13,000 family members to date.
All right, so we have a chapter, we have an event. Does Heroes on the Water provide all the equipment that the first responders, the veterans, or the families might need?
Yep, all of it. You show up, there's kayak, PFDs, paddles, fishing, poles, bait, whatever they're going to need for the day to have a good time.
All right, so they get engaged, they get to feel the little healing process that the outdoors gives us all. But then more importantly, do they return, or is it a one and done opportunity? How does that work, Jason?
Definitely not a one and done, and yes, we do encourage them to come back over and over, and even more so encourage them to become part of the team.
Cool. So you were serviced in Iraq.
Yes, sir.
You spent 900 days in the hospital, and when you got out from your injuries, why don't you tell us how you actually come to know Heroes on the Water?
Well, yep, 19 plus years in the military, got out, and kind of came back to nothing. My injuries, both physically and mentally, sort of limited me, and I was about to become a statistic one day when a volunteer from the organization had called and asked me if I wanted to go kayak fishing.
So you went to your first event, you met Jim, the founder. Tell us what happened then.
It was actually after that, after I realized how important getting back out on the water was, I wanted to tell everybody. So I contacted Jim to see if I could wrap my truck, told him my story about what had happened to me, and he at that point kind of realized that what he was doing was much bigger than what he thought. So
we have this great tournament now in his memory. Where can people go find out about Heroes in the Water and also the tournament?
Yeah, it's our second annual memorial tournament. We lost Jim a couple years ago. All the information can be found at heroesonthewater.org, and we really hope that
we're proud to be a partner with you and what you guys do, and thank you so much for serving.
We're looking forward to it.
All right, Jamie, where are we going next?
Well, we are heading on over to the STARTRON Central West region. If I can talk today, I'm getting all stumbly here. I'm getting so excited about kingfish. We've got Captain Jeff Page on the line, ready to go to let us know how we can get hooked up this weekend. Give us the deets, Page.
All right, well, you know what? In the STARTRON Central West region, we have no shortage of kingfish or kingfisher men or women. Probably one of our more popular species in the Gulf. And the neat thing about them, Rick, is when the conditions are right, you can catch them in a small poling skiff 500 yards off the beach. I've done it. Early March, April, when that light cold fronts quit coming through, you can really do well. And the key is in the spring as well as the fall, finding the migration of bait schools, be it thread fins or glass minnows or anchovies, and you're going to find the kings. A lot of guys like to troll baits like lip plugs or spoons, but everybody uses wire, whether they're using live bait or they're trolling lures. You know what? Another good thing to do is try your best to pay attention to the structure that the fish are holding on, because as long as the weather doesn't change, they're going to be there the next day, 2, or even 3. Another way is, of course, other boats are going to be there. And the problem is sometimes guys are trolling while some guys are live bait fishing. When you're live bait fishing, you can just set up and put your Rodan spot lock on and then just chum and bring the kingfish to you and then cast out a free line with a small piece of wire. We also have one of the biggest kingfish tournaments in the state every year called the King of the Beach, and up to 800 boats will be in it. Our friend Mark at Economy Tackle has won that in the past. Got a couple good kingfish photos tonight. I think of Captain Brian Marcy and some of his clients.
Nice. Tell me about the other one.
And the other one, I think that's also Brian Marcy's crew.
That's all right. All right. Tell me about the permit fishing Page.
Permit. Captain Jason Stock consistently catching quality permit in as close as 3 miles out to 7. And the key, he told me, was having good crabs. If he had to spend the time to dip them, or if he had to drive down to Sarasota or wherever to buy them, he said he wasn't going without the good crabs for the permit. Same with the Flying Hawaiian down in Stump Pass Marina. He says if he has the crabs, he can catch the permit, weather permitting. And they're all in that 3 to 7 mile range. And they're up on top floating, light leader. Got a permit photo tonight. and I don't have my name list in front of me, so just know that there's a smiling person with a nice
a little
permit.
smiling man and his dad or his
Love
grandpa.
Oh,
Love it.
yeah, and the sun.
That's it. All right, tell me about the inshore. We're going red
All right,
fishing.
good to see all these redfish showing up, Rick, and it seems like every time we get a lot of rain in August, this happens. I've heard down in the harbor, Turtle Bay and Bull Bay bars on the higher tide fish up all around the oyster bars, and then the same thing in Teresita Bay as well as Palmasola. Lots of fish around the mouth of the Manatee River as well, Rattlesnake Key, and I think, last week I said it, and I'm going to say it again, that 1/4 ounce Johnson Gold weedless spoon, simplest lure in the box, will get the job done in the summer. Live bait like a pinfish or filtered under a cork will work real well as well. And fish will be up around the mangroves and oysters at high and out in the edges at low. Got a redfish photo tonight. Again, I don't have their name, but I know it's a good one.
Yeah, waiter, appreciate it. All right, tell me about the pool.
Oh, yes. That was the guy that was fishing right next to me one day, and I helped him out with a little bit of bait, and he caught a real nice one, and I took his picture.
All right, tell me about the tarpons.
And my last species tonight, tarpon. You know what? Everybody loves tarpon in May and June, but this late summer tarpon bite with the rains, it's the same down your way. Those fish will stage up at creek mouths and river mouths and gorge on the small bait as well as the ladyfish. You can cast them by throwing lures like the cutter, like that new lipped cutter, or the hijacker from Berkeley. And my last photo tonight is a nice tarpon photo. And which one is that, Rick?
It's a snook, bub. Boy, you're a mess without your list, but I still love you anyway. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Central West region. He says, inshore, go tarpon. Good action along the west wall of Charlotte Harbor. Look for the fish feeding in the schools of ladyfish. And then offshore, permit holding on the nearshore reefs in 3 to 7 mile range off of Anna Maria. Nothing beats a live pass crab for bait.
Gotta love it. All right, well, you know what? We've got to move on, right? We've got a lot to cover. So we're going to move on over to the Real Legends Southwest region. And Captain Ronnie Houston in all his crowning glory is here to tell us what we're reeling in this week. What you got for us, Ronnie?
Well, like always, it's a pleasure representing the Real Legends Southwest region. But you know what? According to Captain Mike Avanon, kingfish can be found all year round. But around Thanksgiving through Easter, the fishing can get a lot better. The fish can be found on wrecks and ledges, but also school up in large groups in depths of 50 to 65 feet of water. Now, school fish can be difficult to locate, but when you find them, they're very eager to almost eat anything. Best way to locate schooling fish is really to troll planers with large spoons or lip plugs over hard bottom areas, while also watching your bottom finder, because as Mike says, there could be several thousand fish in a school. They won't mark well on your fish finder. Water temps can be key. 66 to 70 degrees are ideal, and the large fish can be found basically year-round on wrecks. And if you're targeting a big fish later in the month, best baits are going to be live cigar minnows, sardines, and nothing beats a large blue runner to catch big fish. Got a prime example of some nice kings that were recently caught during that time while fishing with Captain Mike Avanon. Now, first offshore species is going to be the permits. Indian Key to Wiggins Pass, as close as 7 miles and out to 30 miles. Concentrate your efforts on wrecks, towers, and artificial reefs. Now, this is key. Getting out to some of these areas early, fish can be on top, especially if they haven't been pressured. Anchor up or drifting across some of these areas. You might have to make several drifts to locate the fish. Best baits are going to be live crabs or alternating baits in the water column and watching your bottom finder. If you're getting out to some of these areas later in the afternoon, you're not finding the fish or only seeing a few, here's a tip. Wake up a little earlier, get out early, you might get lucky and find these fish on top. Now, the inshore side, the redfish. According to Captain Corey McGuire, he reports redfish are schooling up around the outer islands and bars on the east side of the harbor, as well as the upper Mount Lachey area. Now, if you have light winds, you want to look for the fish pushing water. But you will also have smaller groups of fish staging up on points with current. His go-to baits have been live and cut pinfish, but I've been also fishing up there a lot, fishing some smaller schools, and I've been strictly using artificials like the Topwater Walk the Dog lures, the Berkeley Hijacker, half-ounce gold spoons, and the Bass Assassin 5-inch Didapper and Houdini and Chico's Red Ear. And one of the main reasons I'm using the half-ounce gold spoons and the bigger Didapper is I'll be fishing a tournament up there this weekend. It's an artificial tournament, and it's all inches. So these schools are moving. I need the distance to get to these fish as they're pushing. That's why I'm using the bigger baits. Got a nice picture of an oversized redfish recently caught while fishing with Captain Corey. Last species is going to be the snook. You know, with all the freshwater flow and the recent rains and tropical storms, the Everglades backcountry right now, from Dad's Bay to Rogers Bay, are holding good numbers. The problem is these fish are constantly moving, but they are in schools. Now, your deeper shorelines and points with current have been key for me, and I'm able to do this by just simply using the anchor mode on my Rodan trolling motor, which has made me fish different than I normally would. I'm fan casting suspending lures and crankbaits like the Berkeley Cutter 90 and the Berkeley War Pigs in black and gold and black and silver, and the Bass Assassin 5-inch Sty Dapper on 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce jig heads. And I'm also fishing a little different up in the Everglades backcountry. Due to all the boating pressure that we're now getting, I'm fishing deeper than I normally would. So I'm using the crankbaits in 4 to 6 foot of water, and I'm using the heavier jig heads, 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce, to get down and find these fish. And I got another nice picture of a nice snook caught up in the northern end of the region while fishing with Captain Corey McGuire. You know, with all the boats on the water and the pressure we're having, might be time for you to start changing your patterns and watching us every week to see what's new.
Good advice, Ronnie. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Caddy Can hotspots from the Southwest region. Ronnie says, inshore, go trout fishing. Cape Hayes to Devilfish Key, fishing diving birds and bait schools off of the outer edge in depths of 2 to 5 feet of water. And then if you want to go offshore red groupers, Marco Island to Fort Myers Beach, 75 to 90 feet of water using a variety of baits like cut squid, herring, sardines, live pinfish, or I see garmino.
Oh, you love those minos.
I do love the minos.
You know what else I love? What? I love our Real Legends gear.
I do too.
Right? We're looking good.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? That's right. Well, you took my line now. Real Legends gear right now online. You need to get on there, shop their vast assortment of real performance, real tech at reallegends.com. And if you like what we're wearing, text Insider to 97108 for a link where you can find these styles and more.
Whoa.
Now stay put, because next is the R&R Tackle Southeast region and Taco Marine with new products and Dave Farrell at the CCA Workbench. We're going to taco all about it, right, Dave?
Yeah, look at this. It's football season. What does that remind you of?
Go Gators.
Exactly.
That's right.
Gators.
Chomp, chomp. We'll be right
Roll
back.
Tide.
Oh, no.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Well, we're here at the CCA Workbench. Time for the Taco Marine Troll into Edge new products, Dave, and it looks like the edge could be a problem if you don't have this glove.
No edge is a problem with those gloves on, that's for true. That's a H2O Express Filet glove, and what you do, it's reversible, can go on either hand. You know, you always want to probably put that on the hand that you're not holding the knife with.
Right.
Because, you know, if you're holding the knife in this hand, it's hard to cut yourself with it, but if you're going, you know, you want to be able to cover up the hand that doesn't have the knife in it.
So how does this work, Dave?
Well, it's got ASTM and ASNI cut level 5 protection, which, you know, they're big, certifications. So these are actually used by guys who work on factory ships and whatnot, who are cutting
commercial
all stuff.
boats.
Yeah, cutting stuff all day. And what it is, it's 100% polyester, but inside it has stainless steel silk inside the polyester. Therefore, you can't put a knife through it. You know, they fit really good. They don't slide when it gets on your glove. That's a large, actually. They come in several sizes. Is that an XL?
XL.
Okay, that's an XL. LXL, actually. But they come in different sizes, so you can put that thing on and keep your hand safe from the knife.
Just guys, for the record, there's nothing XL on Ricky Dicky over here. Nope.
They go to academy.com and get one of those.
That's right.
Next, we got some pre-rigged titanium leaders. We were talking about kingfish. When you use the titanium leaders like these are made out of, you don't have to worry about kinks. They don't kink up. You can actually tie some of the titanium they have nowadays. But these are made by R&R Tackle, so you can tell by just looking at them that they're really well done. They put a shrink wrap on all the ties, so you don't have to worry about the ties coming apart or hurting your fingers or something when you're wrapping up some of these leaders. It looks like, I think it's a 24-inch leader on them.
Right.
They come with
single hook or
single
treble
hook, circle hooks, or the treble hooks.
Nice.
And you can get those at rnrdackle.com, or actually it's best to go on there and find a dealer and
support the dealer.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the tackle shop nearby. That thing will get away from you. Anyway, they come 2 per pack too as well. So get you some of those if you want to go catch any of those kingfish or
all right. So
things
now
with
we got
metal teethies.
The real legends.
Yeah, if, like we were saying, football season starting, and they got a lot of nice color combinations. As you can tell, that's pretty much of blue and orange and blue there.
What color team is that?
That would be the Gators, and then you got the whatever this is. I guess they call it garnet and gold.
We know
I guess.
where that
the
one
Seminoles,
is. Seminole.
Yeah.
Oh.
My son goes to Florida. He's in the band, so you probably wanted this shirt. It's a much better shirt.
Yes.
Anyway, short sleeve tech shirts, obviously.
Much better.
Yeah, from that art there's from Lena Zamansky. She does a really good job. Quick dry, moisture wicking, UPF 40, all the good stuff from Real Legends. So go to Real
really
Legends.
Cool, guys.
Go to reallegends.com and support your team.
Show this one in the back. The bass.
Yeah.
Save that for Scotty Martin next week here at the
Last
Rigs
and
and
not
Techniques.
least, we have the Taco Marine multi-purpose 15-degree cleat. It's got it's on a little angle there, 15 degrees. It's a 9-inch cleat. What's cool about this thing is if you need a cleat somewhere, just move it from rod holder to rod holder.
You know what we use these for in the contender, Dave? Is
fenders.
Exactly.
It's got a fender ring. That's got a fender ring in there.
Because the bar on the front of the contender only comes back so far.
Right.
But so then we don't have a place to tie off the fenders. So now we can put it at the console, or we can put it further back. We can put it all the way to the very back.
Right. It's got the nice PVC sleeve on there. Keeps it from rattling around and makes a nice fit.
And they also come in a variety of different lengths.
Oh, there you go. It's great for holding up your hose when you're doing stuff.
Yep.
It keeps the hose off the deck and off. And this is a 9-inch angled deal. You don't want to tie up your boat with it. No. This is not a permanent solution. This is to go from place to place to place and just keep stuff where it is for a little while.
All right.
Yeah. Go to tacomarine.com, and it comes with a 1-year warranty. Nice brushed aluminum finish.
Right.
So it's very good stuff there.
Good job
Everything
over
good
here.
at Taco Marine.
That's it. And if the guys aren't sure, they can always go to our website and see if they forget.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jamie, I don't want to forget the next region, so where are we going?
Well, good thing I've got all the details on that. So pilchards, herrings, and sardines, oh my. Let's bring in Captain Jimbo, who has the latest reports on catching kings in the R&R Tackle Southeast region. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Jamie. Hello, Rick and Dave. Yep, in the Southeast region, we can find kingfish throughout the year. And one of the best times and one of my favorites is around the full moons of March, April, and May. That's when we catch the most and the largest kings. Now, live baiting and trolling are the most popular tactics to target these kings. And on the live bait side, pilchards, herrings, sardines, and goggle eyes are favorites. You want to fish them under the kite or drift those live baits. And if there's no live bait available, you can try trolling 3.5 drone spoons or a sea witch and bonita strip combo on a wire line or behind a planer. You want to get that bait down deep. And some of those days, the trolling will outfish the live baits. Now, standard depths are anywhere from 80 to 160 feet of water, and you definitely want a piece of wire leader to stop any cutoffs. And whether you're live bait or trolling, you want some wire leader. And the average size kings are anywhere from 4 to 20 pounds, but there are a lot of bigger ones caught throughout the year. And lately, the king bite's been a little bit on the slow side, with most of the fish being caught on the troll in the 120 to 160 foot range. And the north end of the region definitely sees a lot more kingfish this time of the year. Now, staying offshore, there have been enough dolphin offshore to make a trip out there worthwhile. The fish have been holding on scattered weed lines, patches of sargassum, and just about anything good floating has been holding fish in anywhere from the 5 to 10 pound range. Most of the fish are being found in 800 feet of water on out, but if you have to find something good floating in shallower, you got a good shot at finding fish. There's also been some birds working over some of the floaters, pointing them out for us, and we're always scanning the horizon with our binoculars, looking for any bird activity. And on the calm days, you can see them floaters too through the binoculars. Now, we're catching the fish on trolled ballyhoos, small lures, and feathers. Once we locate those fish, we've been casting small live pilchers, blue runners, or cut bait. Like I like to use bonita and ballyhoo on spinning rods. And I got a photo here. This is one of the nicer sized dolphin, and it's not really big, maybe a 10-pounder that we caught in last week. And we had about a dozen other schoolies to go with that one. Now, moving inshore, this is prime time to target snook in the inlets and off the beaches. Now, all of the inlets throughout the region have been holding snook. Many of those snook have been over slot size. Most of them are being caught in the early mornings and then the late afternoons into the evenings using live bait like a live pinfish, pilchers, or a herring. You want to fish them near the bottom using a Jupiter rig. Also, you can bounce 1 to 2 ounce flare hawk jigs or jig heads with chartreuse tails along the bottom. That's been getting bites. Or you can try trolling deep diving lures along the jetties and ledges. The snook attack those as well. Now, the outgoing tide has been best unless the water is murky, in which case they've been biting both tides, but you do want that tide moving. There's also been some big snook roaming the beaches, especially in the north end of the region. These snook can be sight fish early in the morning before the beaches get too crowded. You want to, live baits are working good, live croakers or pilchers, or you can cast baits that mimic those live croakers or pilchers like a 4 to 5 inch jerk bait. Green and white and pearl colors have been productive. Got another photo here. This is Joe Hector with a big snook that he caught off Deerfield Beach using a live pilcher earlier in the week. That's a nice one there.
That is a nice one.
Now, I know. Catch and release only, though. So he got him back in there. He swam away. Catch him next month when the season opens. Now, with this hot, rainy weather we've been experiencing, it's gotten those peacock bass fired up. The peacocks are being found in all of the local lakes and canals of Dade and South Broward counties. They're biting small live minnows and shiners, or small crankbaits in chartreuse colors, or 1/4 ounce jigs in dark colors. And if you're looking to catch a peacock on fly tackle, you can try using a small Clouser minnow fly in red and white or green and white. Look for those peacocks to bite best in the middle of the day in areas of clear water with current, around the spillways, the bridge columns, and any other structures. And as a bonus, there's also been plenty of largemouths in those same areas.
All right, thank you, Jimbo. You did so good. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the R&R Southeast region. He says inshore, look for the snook in all the inlets and off the beaches in the evening and early in the morning where they are eating live and artificial baits. And then offshore, head offshore and search for the dolphin that are hanging around the weed lines, floating debris, and eating trolled and live cut baits.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Now listen, if you ever wanted to fish with this guy over here, now is your chance, thanks to Florida Coast Equipment. The grand prize winner will get a day of fishing with Rick and 2 friends, and the second prize winner will have their choice of fishing with any Fiffer guide and 2 friends. To enter in person, head to any of the 6 Florida Coast Equipment locations or head to floridacoasteq.com/Fishing with Rick to enter online. Now, if you want to share any of those photos, go to Instagram, Facebook, and Let's Go Fishing with Rick's social media posts and hashtag us and hashtag Let's Go Fishing with 5 of your friends. So good luck, everybody. So what do you think, Rick? Should we keep going?
Yeah, let's go.
Good. Okay. So stick around, guys. We are going to come right back with the ALVEY Reels Northeast region and GARMIN Panhandle region coming up next.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by STARTRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. ALVEY Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Welcome back, guys. Right now, Captain Tommy in the ALVEY Reels Northeast region is going to help us become the sovereign of the sea. What do you have for us, Tommy?
I like that, Jamie. Thanks. You know, kingfishing, it's a pretty big deal here in the ALVEY Sidecast Reels Northeast region. Those kingfish, they're really popular during our warmer water months, but especially from really June to about September. Now, you can find them along the reefs and wrecks offshore and right along the beach pretty much all summer long. In fact, you can even catch some big kingfish off the local piers when the conditions are right. And this past week, I actually saw a couple of those big fish that caught off the pier in Jacksonville. Now, for most of the summer, there's quite a few kings in that 10 to 20 pound range on the live bottom reefs near shore throughout the region from about 60 to 80 feet. Now, you're going to want to look for a structure that's holding bait, and that's usually where you're going to find the fish. You basically just want to troll over the structure. Even if the bait isn't there, those fish do like the structure, so it's a good idea to do that. Historically, leading up to the full moon is when some of those bigger fish are going to show up near the beach. And, you know, we have that full moon coming up in just a couple of days. You're going to want to troll along the beach in anywhere from about 30 to 50 feet of water. You're going to keep an eye out for those bait pods. That's always a good sign. Now, most anglers are going to troll a live pogie or maybe a ribbon fish, whether you're on the beach or if you're offshore. Now, the typical kingfish rig is going to be a wire leader, stinger rig, and maybe even a boon duster to sweeten it a little bit. Now, if you're looking to get into kingfishing, guys, you know, get up to Strike Zone, see Dave and his crew. They got all that stuff seriously dialed in. They even have a website called kingfishzone.com that's completely dedicated to kingfishing. They've got everything you could ever want for kingfishing there, so definitely check that out. And I've got a picture here. This is my man David Snyder with a really nice kingfish that he caught with me last week while we were trolling some live pogies out there at the 9 Mile Reef area.
Not bad for a Pathfinder guide. Good job, Tommy. I love it.
Thanks, Rick. It's all about the Pathfinder, man.
That's it, baby.
Hey, also offshore, the mangrove snappers, another fish you love, Rick. You know, that's another thing that fires up before a full moon, and it's got these mangrove snappers spawning. It's a little late in the season for them to be really ganged up, but the offshore guys, you know what? They've been doing really well in that 21 to 23 fathom area. They're chumming with chunk pogies or sardines. You know, that's the go-to method. You're going to get those fish fired up doing that and up towards the surface. And while that's a great way to catch them, you know, it's not always necessary. You know, you can just fish them down deeper as well. You're going to want to downsize your leader a little bit and your hook size. You know, those mangoes, they have good eyes. They tend to be a little leader shy most of the time. Now, average size of those mangoes is about 5 to 8 pounds. But I'll tell you what, I've seen some monsters that are coming to the dock here the last couple of days. They're still out there. And I've got another picture. This is Nathan Creeder from Team Creeder Fish with one of those big stud mangoes that they caught in about 140 feet of water east of St. Augustine.
Some nice snapper, man.
That's some good eating there. Now, moving inshore, guys, the redfish. We have some flood tides happening this week, and that means it's time to get up in the grass and look for those tailing redfish. You know, these flood tides only happen really a handful of times, mostly during the late summer and fall. Now, you basically just need to find a good Spartina flat, wait for the tide to get into the areas that it usually doesn't get water on. So when that tide gets really high, you know, those redfish are going to be up in those areas. They're going to get access to the crabs that usually stay high and dry, so usually they can't get there. You know, my favorite lure to toss to those fish in the grass is going to be the Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner rigged on a weedless hook. You know, it's got that little slot on top of that lure. It really allows you to have a completely weedless setup, and that'll come through that Spartina. Super easy. And it's also a great time to bust out the fly rod. You know, a small crab or a shrimp fly is going to work well. But you know what? A topwater fly like a gurgler makes for some awesome hookups. If you ever get out there and do that, it's going to be a lot of fun. Rick, you got to come up one time. Maybe we can do a Sportsman's Adventures in that flooded grass. Some really cool stuff.
That'd be cool.
Now staying inshore, tarpon. Tarpon have shown up in better numbers along the beach this week. They kind of been a little hit or miss over the last few weeks, but they have been in the pogie pods feeding early and then again right before dark. Now, they're also going to get fired up right after some of these rainstorms we've been having. Something about those rainstorms gets them going. I don't know if it aerates the water, but if you can sneak out there right after that, you're probably going to be on a good bite. Just float or free line a pogie around those pods and hold on. Now, there's a bunch of small tarpon, smaller, 10 to 30-pound fish in the creeks and the canals in the south end of the region, like Palm Coast, Tomoka, and down towards Daytona. Now, large freeline shrimp or finger mullet's been working really well for my clients on those smaller tarpon. Now, I do like to use a small, like a 1/0, 2/0 hook, as it makes those baits, they're going to make them look a little more natural, let them swim a little more natural. And I've got one last picture here. This is one of my favorite people to have on the boat, Patty Scott, with her very first fly-caught tarpon. She got that with me a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations to Patty. That was a really awesome time.
Well, good job coaching. I know what it's like to get them their first tarpon on the fly, and it takes a team effort. Good job, Tommy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots from the ALVEY Northeast region. He says inshore tarpon in the pokey pods along the beaches at first light and again at dusk or after a rainstorm in the afternoon, and then offshore mangrove snappers in 120 to 140 feet throughout the entire region. The big kingfish are also along the beach and 30 to 50 feet. What do you think?
I love it. Good stuff, right?
Yes.
Now we got to move on over to the GARMIN Panhandle region, and Captain Pat Deneen is standing by to let us know what's going on this week to get cranking on some kings. Let's hear it, Pat.
Yeah, I tell you, the kings are in the Panhandle waters pretty much May through November. Basically, when the cigar minnows and herring start to show up in the springtime, the kings are usually right behind them, and then we catch them until the water cools, which is usually into November. With the summer kingfish, have been numerous this summer. It's been really good fishing the past few weeks, and really all summer there's been a lot of king mackerel around. And the bigger kings are usually caught late summer, or actually fall, September, October. It seems to be when the biggest ones are caught. Right now they're being caught from boats, kayaks, and piers. When you find the bait, you find the king mackerel, so fish for them around the bait schools, around the inlet buoy lines, bottom structure, and 60 to 120, 150 feet of water. Like Tommy mentioned, it's a basic stinger rig is a setup. Nose hook your baits with I like to use a small live bait hook for the nose hook, and then a treble hook for the stinger hook. And I let my stinger hook free swing back there, but a lot of guys like to kind of stick one of those hooks from the treble into the bait. And then you bump or slow troll your baits with a couple baits on top and 1 or 2 deep behind a downrigger, or use a trolling lead. The kings are averaging 8 to 12 pounds, and some of the biggest of the year, like I said, are caught late summer and into the fall. Then staying offshore, prior to the tropical storm Fred's arrival this week, the weather has been very calm. I mean, really, really nice offshore weather, and the anglers are taking advantage by heading out to the spur and dumping grounds targeting swordfish. Well, tropical storm Fred has passed. Grace is going to go way south of us. The seas have calmed down, and anglers are definitely heading back out and targeting the swordfish in 13 to 1,500 feet of water. And the Okaloosa fads north of the spur and south of the spur have been a hot spot both daytime and nighttime. Squid, dolphin bellies, and bonita ships are all really good baits. And a lot of anglers, including myself, I like to put a skirt on the bait. It adds color and durability to the baits, so the bait can withstand a good whacking by a good bill whacking by a swordfish. And then also sew your baits to the hook. And I like to use 200-pound leaders. Some people use 250. Some people use 300. Daytime, fish near the bottom. Nighttime, stagger your baits at different depths. The stores are averaging 100 pounds with some bigger ones around as well. And there's a picture I got there from Captain David Sherman. He took a break away from his inshore guidance service, and this past weekend went out to the Okaloosa Fads and found a really nice swordfish for his efforts.
Let's go inshore, Pat.
Yes, sir. Moving inshore, mangroves have been biting very good on live baits. Throw the cast in and get a bunch of small pogies or pilchards. Small pinfish also make excellent mangrove baits. Anchor up current of some of the structure near the passes, like the Destin Bridge, the jetties at any of the inlets, or deeper residential docks. Either freeline your baits or use a couple split shots or a Carolina rig if you have a lot of current. Use light leaders, 12 to 15 pound, and a small light wire circle hook. The inshore bay mangroves are running 10 to 14 inches, and they've been a very good bite of them lately. And then finally inshore, the Spanish mackerel are on the points and the deeper grass flat edges in all the bays. If you see the fish slipping under small turns, you can cast jigs, spoons, or troll small straw troll straw rigs. Captain Wes Rozier over in Pensacola, he likes to cast topwater chugger style baits, and he catches some really nice ones by targeting the deeper grass and the roll downs off the sandbar edges. You can also use the same baits that we use for mangroves, the small menhaden or pilchards, Anchor up on the points and chum liberally with the live baits. Either free line your bait or fish them under the float. The base Spanish are running 14 to 20 plus inches. Occasionally, you'll find one of those 3 to 5 pounders.
Thank you so much, Pat, from the GARMIN Panhandle region. We're going to go and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots. He says nighttime speckled trout fishing around the residential dock lights using free line shrimp and minnows. And then offshore, big vermilion snappers on the wrecks and live bottom in 130 to 150 feet of water.
You know what? I have never ever caught a swordfish.
Oh, come on.
You got to
now.
help me out on that one, right?
All right, well, we get the new contender dialed in. We have to call Richard IV, and he can take us both.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
All right, guys, we are rounding the corner with the Discover Crystal River Northwest region with more info. And we are also going to tell you how to scoop up a king or two. So you won't want to miss it. Stay put.
We're here.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters. Raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Real Legends. Everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine. Troll the edge.
Today's Power Pole tip is about the warranty and the service. Now, Power Pole is owned and operated, family owned and operated. And guys, I want to tell you, with that in mind, that's one of the reasons why they have the best customer service and warranty program of any company in the industry. They want to make sure that your Power Pole experience every single day is flawless. The thing that I like is that you can troubleshoot your problems through the Sea Monster app. But if you're not able to figure out the problem yourself, they want you to call. So we have a 1-800 number that you can call, and they'll answer that phone call and try to troubleshoot the problem while you're out on the water. If you're not able to, then they'll recommend you to go to a local dealer. They will get in contact with the dealer to make sure that you have no problems whatsoever. The reason why Power Pole is such a great product is certainly they stand behind their product. They want you to have a great experience, and that's one of the single most important parts of their business model. If you have any questions about Power Pole, you can go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. You know, the other thing that I love, Jamie, about Power Pole is this new charging system they have called the Charge. And what's so cool, through that app that we were talking about, I'm able to monitor both my trolling motor batteries and my starting battery all at one time on my phone. And what's great about it is most of my runs back to the boat ramp are probably anywhere between 25 and 35 minutes.
Sure.
That whole time I'm running, I'm charging my trolling motor battery and my starting battery. There's no other charger in the marine business that does that.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And it seems like there's new technology, right, Rick? There's always an app for everything, right?
Absolutely.
But this is
be able
beneficial.
to check it out on your phone while you're driving home or driving home in the boat or in the car.
In the car.
So awesome.
Either
way
way.
to go, Power Pole.
Well, right now, Captain Jeff Hagman is ready to help us as well. He's going to help us rule the weekend in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region. So what info can you share with us, Jeff?
Coming live from Key West, just pulled in tonight. The kingfish in my region are plentiful from spring and the fall. Most of the migration goes through my region when that water temp hits that magic 68 to 74 degrees. Fast trolling big lip plugs works really good, and king spoons are also effective. Slow trolling live baits is also really, really effective. Bumping your motor in and out of gear with live baits behind the boat, thread fins, sardines, blue runners, Spanish sardines are all great bait. Or anchoring up on these reefs and wrecks we've got, and just freelining baits out behind the back of the boat while you're either anchored up or on your trolling motor, spot locked, and throwing some baits out the back of the boat, and you can bring them up right back to the boat with a chum bag and some cut baits. As far as location goes, anywhere there's bait, when you find the baits, you find the fish.
Big schools of thread fins are really good fish to look for. Reefs and wrecks have those on them and are holding them. And that's where you're going to find the migration of kingfish when they come through. Staying offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports the grouper bite's been really good in 150 to 200 feet of water. He's fishing ledges and rocks mostly. Threadfin herring, tipped with a little bit of squid, frozen threadfin herring, is working well. If you can get bait, the red tide's still a little bit tough right now to get live bait, but if you can get it and keep it alive, bring some pinfish and grass grunts out there too. They're working really well. 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader, 6/0 to 8/0 trocar circle hook, and 6 to 8 ounces of lead has been getting it done. And I've got a picture of Dan Houston with his biggest gag to date. It's a nice gag right there.
Boy, yeah, it sure is.
I love them things.
Okay.
Moving inshore. Captain James Goodman of GoFloridaFishing.com, Lower Tampa Bay, reports a good snook bite right now in Lower Tampa Bay. Outgoing tide, live pinfish and sardines. He's fishing points and passes and have been catching a lot of post-spawn fish. Up in the bay, Captain Jason Lineberger of Ruthless Fishing Charters out of Tampa Bay reports a good snook bite right now in Upper Tampa Bay. Live sardines, either free-lined or cork, has been the bait of choice. And he's fishing the beginning of that outgoing tide. He said that's been the best bite. Moving around the coast and up the coast a little bit, Captain Jimmy Huddleston of CaptainHud.com out of Ozona Fish Camp reports a good snook bite right now. The consistent pattern's been on the Gulf Coast with fish staging up on the major passes. Anglers have had the best luck on the outgoing tide. Big pinfish pegged with 2 ounces of lead, and with 2 ounces of lead weight to keep them in that desired feed zone. 40-pound fluorocarbon leader. A lot of these fish right now are 35 to 40 inches, and they're being consistently caught on the beginning of the outgoing tide. Those big snook are going to move out on the beaches, and you can sight fish with live sardines, just cruising along that swash channel, right just 2 feet off the beach. Moving up to Crystal River, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tales Charters, fishing out of the Plantation Inn on Crystal River, reports a good redfish bite right now around the Mangrove Island Keys from Crystal River to Chaskawitska. He's working the mangrove islands that have active mullet schools around points and coves and overhanging branches. He's using live mud minnows on an 1/8 ounce jig head when the schools are tight to the mangroves. When they get off, those schools get off the mangroves, he's switching to a pinfish right when they get off the shoreline. Most of the fish have been mid-slot, anywhere from 22 to 25 inches. Multiple hookups are not uncommon. Most of the schools right now are running anywhere from 50 to 100 fish in those redfish schools.
All right, Hag, I just want to give you a fair warning that I am coming to Key West this weekend. I'll be filming with Chris Trossett out of Ocean's Edge Marina. So
you got to come join me and Coco on the big boat.
We're gonna come to see you and Coco, and more importantly, our boy Jeff Barnes, who you know very well, has had his 50th birthday. So we have a birthday celebration. So I want to invite you and Coco to go to dinner with us, wherever that is.
Sounds great.
You know, we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, bud. We'll see you tomorrow sometime. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Ozella Key Marina hotspots from the Northwest region. He says inshore, snook on the beaches and the passes, use sardines and pinfish fished on the outgoing tide. And then offshore, gag groupers in 100 to 250 feet of water over the rock piles and ledges using pinfish and a pigfish on a standard bottom rig. So anything with a P should be good bait.
Yep, got it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, all the reports are in, and you should be geared up to have a royal weekend. I'm super excited to get out there, but our reign is not over just yet. We'll be right back with details on next week's show right after this. Hey guys, it's all about the bass next week, so make sure that we're going to tune back in. Check us all out again, right? Absolutely. We're talking about largemouth, smallmouth, stripers. We got it all.
We're going to be talking about that certainly on the Texas with the smallmouth, and guess what? We've got a special guest coming in to help us. Scotty Martin.
Scotty Martin.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm excited to come back.
He's very good
techniques.
All right,
he makes
guys.
me look ugly standing
That's
next
right.
to him.
All right.
Well, that's fine with me. I'll be back. See you guys.